As a long-suffering Manchester United fan, who had grown fat on the success of the Alex Ferguson years, the 13 league titles, 5 FA Cups, 2 UEFA Champions League titles, the 3-2 defeat of Juventus in Italy on the way to the 1999 treble, Teddy's stunning stoppage-time equaliser, followed by Ole's even more stunning winning goal in the UEFA final against the hitherto invincible machine of Bayern Munich, Ryan Giggs' sensational FA Cup semi-final goal against Arsenal, the 7-1 mauling of Roma in 2007, the 8-2 demolition of the Gunners in 2011. The devastating partnership of Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole, David Beckham's pinpoint crossing and free-kick accuracy, Van Nistelrooy and Robin van Persie's prolific goal-scoring, Cristiano Ronaldo's mesmerizing talent, Wayne Rooney's outstanding goals, Eric Cantona's aura and flying kick, the dependable defending of the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Jaap Stam, Gary Neville, Patrice Evra, the strong leadership of Roy Keane, the goalkeeping of Peter Schmeichel, Edwin van der Sar, etc. etc. I never considered the barren years that would follow Fergie's departure in May 2013. Unfortunately, I have been forced to contemplate our fall from grace and now understand what Mourinho meant when he said that finishing second with us was one of his best achievements. I can recall the problems that he and Didier Drogba used to give us, and the expectations that we had following his arrival. I now understand what Ronaldo said about the state of the club's facilities on his much-appreciated return. As a lifelong Ronaldo fan, I hold no brief for Ten Hag and the disrespect that he showed to one of the greatest players ever to lace up a pair of football boots, but after reviewing the Glazers' tenure, I am firmly of the opinion that Manchester United's problem lies squarely at the feet of the Glazers. There have been 8 football managers in the 10 years since Sir Alex retired. The only constant is the Glazers. During the Fergie era, I never understood the anybody but Man U spirit that permeated the ranks of my friends and family who consisted only of Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs and West Ham supporters. Now that the tide has turned, thanks to the Glazers, they have replaced the good-natured banter that we used to engage in magnanimously, with virulent banter exuding long-held resentment. The Arsenal supporters have agreed to let bygones be bygones, but the Liverpool supporters are just too bitter to relent. Thankfully, as I don't know, or have yet to meet any, I have never had to suffer the trauma of City supporters, glorifying in their ill-gotten proceeds of crime. But, before showing how the relationship between US President G.H.W. Bush and Malcolm Glazer foretold Man U's current predicament, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, subscribe and click the notification icon to be notified when the next video is uploaded. Our review of the Glazers' track record includes their connection to the Bush family, and has shown that what is happening to us now was destined to happen once they took over the club. Sir Alex, God bless him, was able to stave off this inevitability because of the strength of his influence and success record. Once he retired, the true nature of the Glazers which had been concealed by his success came to the fore. As publicly reported, Malcolm Glazer, the multi-billionaire financier, had a long history of leveraging his billionaire status to accrue debt to a deleterious magnitude in the companies that he takes over. That company's assets are then used to service the debt and pay his dividends at the expense of the business. This, for example, was what he did when he bought Zapata Corporation, the international oil and gas conglomerate that had been founded by George H.W. Bush, and whose success, which was based in part on his close association with the CIA, paved the way for his political career and ultimately the presidency. Zapata fell into financial difficulties after Bush's exit, and this paved the way for Glazer to effect a heavily debt-financed takeover of the company in 1994. He subsequently installed his son, Avram, as CEO and president. Between 1998 and 2000, Avram attempted to forge a new path for Zapata as an internet-related business. His ambition was to become one of the 10 largest internet and e-commerce companies in the world. Zapata's stocks boomed and crashed along with other dot-coms, and in January 2001, the company conducted a reverse stock split, which is something that distressed companies do to raise the value of otherwise low-priced shares. Zapata's failure was cited by many investment journalists as an example of a company jumping on the internet bandwagon without any relevant experience. Shortly after the heavily debt-financed Zapata acquisition, Malcolm Glazer acquired Tampa Bay Buccaneers in another heavily debt-leveraged deal in 1995. The Glazers' DNA of heavy debt financing was the common link between the disparate core businesses of oil, e-commerce, and American football. Malcolm Glazer bought Tampa Bay Buccaneers from one Hugh Culverhouse, a man that was nearly bankrupt despite the low payroll for his team. Tellingly, he immediately installed his sons, Brian, Joel, and Avram, as directors in charge of the team's financial affairs. The heavily financed club went on to become competitive and win 2 league championships, 2 conference championships, and 5 division championships. However, in keeping with the Glazer DNA of leeching off other people's money, they were able to get Hillsborough County voters to raise sales taxes to build a new stadium. It is therefore obvious that with this background, a heavily financed purchase of Man U by the Glazers was destined to lead us to where we are today, where there has been a lack of investment in the club's facilities, as Cristiano Ronaldo and Gary Neville have commented openly. Perhaps, the Glazers were anticipated getting the people of Manchester to pay for building a new stadium for Man U? Who knows? And I don't really care. What is clear is that the Glazers are foreign invaders, who have colonized Manchester United and have since been repatriating their spoils of war back to the US. This is totally unacceptable, and in our next video we will be looking at how the Glazers were able to pass the fit and proper test which the FA introduced in 2004, and whether they are now in breach of any of the terms of those tests, and if not, whether those tests should be revised in light of what is happening at Man U.